Hi, it's Ty the Real Estate Guy here with a video for those of you who want to know if it's better to rent or if you should buy a house. Unlike most of the videos on this subject, I'll actually look at the issue from both sides, giving you the advantages and disadvantages of both renting and buying. By the way, if this is your first time seeing me, you'll want to hit the subscribe button below and ring that little bell to stay up to date on the latest real estate tips and trends. This video is going to answer the question, is it better to rent or buy a house? I've been in real estate for about 15 years now, and I've personally helped more than 400 people buy, sell, or build a home. I've also been a renter, but I'm currently a homeowner. As a real estate investor, I've been fortunate to gain an understanding of the rental side of things. Today, we're going in depth on renting versus buying a home, and if you watch to the end, I'll give you a compelling reason why one of these two options is clearly better than the other. I want you to know that I take my job as a real estate agent seriously. I never want my advice or actions to put someone in a situation where they could be harmed, and that's why I approach this subject with caution. Obviously, if you watch my other videos, you know that I'm a proponent of home ownership. I personally own multiple properties, and I'm sitting on a heck of a lot of equity. I do not say this to brag, but honestly, home ownership, if done correctly, will be one of, if not the best financial decision you ever make. But to be responsible with my advice, it's important that I tell you that yes, home ownership is better than rent for a lot of reasons, but you can't just jump into it willy-nilly. It takes careful planning and saving before you jump in. If done correctly, buying real estate is one of the safest and best ways to build financial stability. If done wrong, it can be devastating. So make sure you do your research before you buy a home, and if you have tens of thousands of dollars in debt, even if it's just from student loans, you really should pay most of it, if not all of it, off before you buy a home. It's also important to remember that a lender will approve you for the maximum amount of home you can buy. In most situations, it's wise not to buy a home at the very top of your approval. Do your best and buy a home that keeps your monthly payment in a range that's comfortable for you. My first mortgage payment was low enough that I could still make the payment even if I had to take a job paying minimum wage. Also, if you're not good with money, be honest with yourself. Home ownership is not for you. If you don't know how to budget, you need to learn how before you buy a home. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, I should probably also mention that in certain parts of the country, especially large cities like New York City, it probably makes more sense to rent. But for most of us, home ownership really is the best option. Before we get started, it's also important to understand that renting versus buying is not a simple apples to apples comparison. It's a complicated issue, so I'm going to do my best to simplify it. In the end, you need to carefully decide what's the best option for you. Let's start with the question, when is it better to rent? It's better to rent when you're not sure how long you're going to be living in the area. When you don't have a stable job, when you have no savings, if mortgage rates are really, really high like they were in the 80s, if you have a lot of debt, if you or your significant other spend money like it's going out of style, if you don't know how to budget your money, if you like to travel a lot, or if you travel a lot due to work, if the real estate market is in serious decline, or if you're really, really old. I mean, what's the point of buying a home if you're not going to be around to enjoy all the benefits, right? Really? This list could go on and on, but you get the point. If you can relate to any of these items, you may not be ready to buy a house. The next logical question is, are you throwing away your money by paying rent? The answer is, of course not. Why? Because you're getting a roof over your head, which also includes heat in the winter and air conditioning in the summer. There are actually a lot of advantages to renting, and I'll give you 10 right now. 1. You don't need to repair or replace things, at least not from normal wear and tear. 2. No maintenance or upkeep on the property. Usually, you're not responsible for upkeep in the home or in the yard. This will save you tons of money and allow you to spend your time doing the things you want instead. 3. If you lose your job and can't make the payment, you won't lose your house and all the money you've put into it. 4. Often with rent, you'll have a smaller monthly payment. 5. It's more like dating instead of being married. You'll have very little real commitment. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but you know what I'm saying, right? 6. You'll pay less up front. When you buy a home, you're usually expected to put a minimum of 3.5% down. On a $250,000 home, that's nearly $9,000, and that doesn't include closing costs, which could easily be another $6,000. With rent, if you're paying $1,000 per month, your initial deposit will usually only be about $2,000. 7. Often with a rental property, you'll get things like a pool, a gym, a clubhouse, and things of that nature. 8. Relocating is easy. Even if you're stuck in a lease for a few months, you can usually buy your way out of it for a few $1,000s. If you own a home, you'll need to sell it, and even in a good market, this can easily take a few months. If the housing market is bad, selling your home could take more than a year. 9. If you're not planning to live in the area for more than a year or two, or if you're just not sure where you're going or what you're doing, usually rent makes more sense. 10. Often rentals are located in higher density locations. This means there are more people for you to connect with. If you're super social, this can be a very good thing. For instance, when I was single and in college, I loved living in close proximity to so many people. It made life exciting for me. I've also heard some compelling arguments on investing instead of spending such a large amount of your money on a down payment to buy a home. They say you'd become a millionaire quicker if you put the down payment plus the additional money you'd be spending on a home into the stock market. Now, I strongly believe that you should have some money in the stock market, but number 1, buying a home has many advantages other than the financial benefits. Plus, the stock market can be risky, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Number 2, you can't live in a stock. If you have a bunch of your money in the stock market and the market crashes, you could have your own financial crisis. But if you have a lot of money in your home and the housing market crashes, you can still live in your home. If you have a personal crisis like a loss of job, you can always sell your home, same as stocks. On the flip side of renting, if you're in a stable situation and you've saved some money, buying a home can have many amazing benefits. And you've guessed it, I'm going to tell you why. Yes, buying a home is a huge financial decision, but for most people, it becomes the best financial decision they ever make. But before I continue, can I ask a quick favor? If you're finding this information helpful, will you please give this video a thumbs up? I would appreciate it more than you know, and that thumbs up will help others see that this video is helpful. Thanks. Okay, here's 10 wonderful benefits of buying a home, starting with reason number 1. You're not sharing a wall with your neighbor. This means no more listening to the show your neighbors are listening to. No more listening to them fight, clanking around in the middle of the night, or that other thing. You know what I'm talking about. It just makes things weird. Number 2, you'll get certain tax advantages that renters don't get. You can deduct interest, real estate taxes, and possibly even get deductions for energy efficient upgrades added to your home. Be sure to check the IRS website for the most up-to-date tax breaks for homeowners. 3, you can customize, update, or upgrade at any time. No need to call your landlord or ask your mommy because you're the boss of yourself. 4, when you live in a neighborhood, you're much more likely to create lifelong friendships with your neighbors because many of them will live in that same area for years and years. Yes, when I was in college, it was awesome to live in a high-density location where I could easily make lots of friends. But nearly all those friends have vanished. Living in a home has allowed me and my family to create deep, meaningful, lifelong relationships. 5. You can watch movies with the sound turned all the way up. You can smoke, drink, clank around in the middle of the night, have loud discussions with your loved ones, and really do whatever you want. It's your home. 6. If you want a dog or a cat or a fox or whatever, you can get one. Many landlords don't allow pets. This is your house. Get what you want. 7. Over time, rent increases at approximately 3 to 5% per year, while your mortgage will stay the same. So, if you buy a home with a mortgage payment of $1,500 per month, 15, 20, 25 years from now, your payment will still be only $1,500 per month until your mortgage is paid off, which I'll talk more about in a minute. Your rent may only be $1,200 today, but rent on that same property could easily be higher than $2,000 per month 30 years from now. And in the end, after 30 years of paying rent, you have nothing to show for it. That money was never applied to anything, and now it's gone. 8. And this is a big one. Buying a home is the American dream. You'll have the pride of home ownership. This goes way beyond the financial benefits of buying a house. I'm talking about life satisfaction. If you've never owned a home, it's pretty hard to understand how amazing it is to be sitting peacefully in your own house, eating, drinking, watching, or doing whatever you want. It's priceless. 9. And one of my favorite words, equity. There are 2 simple ways to build equity. Number 1, as time passes, your home will increase in value. A $200,000 home today could easily be worth $400,000 15 years down the road and valued at $800,000, maybe more, in 30 years. How's that for a retirement plan? When the time comes to retire, you can sell your home and move into something smaller or less expensive and live off the equity that you've built. Number 2, each month when you make a payment, you'll pay down your mortgage a little until it's finally paid off. You can also leverage your equity to buy a bigger or better home. You can move closer to the city or the things that are important to you. You can also leverage your home to buy investment properties, though I strongly urge you to use caution with this and make sure the numbers work so the investment property puts you in a more solid situation instead of adding more risk. And finally, number 10. This is that one compelling reason I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Each time you make a payment, the amount you owe on the home will decrease. If you're wise, as your salary increases, you'll also increase the amount you pay towards your principal to pay off your home sooner. At some point, you'll pay off your home, and then guess what? No more house payment. Come on, people, this is huge. To me, this trumps all arguments in the rent versus buy discussion. Seriously, take a moment to think about this. What would you do if you no longer had a monthly payment going towards rent or a mortgage? How would you spend that extra $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is? Would you finally buy your dream car? Would you travel the world? Would you invest in other real estate so you're actually getting paid each month? The possibilities are endless. To me, this is the number one reason you need to buy a home as soon as you're ready, because at some point, your home will release you from the shackles of that huge monthly expense that, as I mentioned earlier, will only increase if you're paying rent. I would love to hear your thoughts. Did one of my points stick out to you? Please comment below. Hopefully, this has given you some clarity on the subject, and hopefully when the time is right, you'll be able to buy a home for yourself. For more great real estate videos, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty the Real Estate Guy. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you know someone that's currently paying rent or thinking about buying a home, please share this video with them. Once again, if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. Please type your remarks below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to ring that little bell below. It'll make you feel good.